Hello and welcome to the news on HOMEF TV. I am Kome Odomo. First, the highlights. HOMEF sets the stage for socio-ecological transition. Book reading session with Abdul Oro encourages citizens' participation in electoral processes. Roots and resilience, a lifetime in the fight for our environment. Now the news in detail. As is the tradition at Health of Moderates Foundation, it holds its annual retreats, which serves as a platform for careful review and analysis of the organization's activities, identifying areas for improvement, recommendations, and advancements. This year will be focused on the theme Socio-Ecological Transition. The week-long event featured presentations and trainings on plans and agenda, as well as charting the way forward. Our correspondent, Eseli Ojanelu, completes the report.
The team bonded over games, drama presentations, and storytelling, which allowed members to familiarize themselves with the organization's mission and values, while providing seasoned members with a refresher. The executive director, Nimo Bassi, stated that the theme, Socio-Ecological Transition, encapsulates everything the organization stands for in the transition it seeks. The year's key focus is building wellness, well-being, and understanding.
HOMEF translates, but we must have transition internally in each of us. Each of us. How many of us? Each of us. So don't look at you and know it was not transiting. What of you are you transiting? Is there a transition going on in you? What are you learning? What are you knowing? What are you experiencing? Yeah. So that's the process, and it's internally. It continues. Transition is a living process, guided by the vision. Vision is the destination. Let's work on getting that change, that transition happen in our attitude, in our understanding, in our focus, in our work, in our relationships, in everything that we do. Let's become new persons.
You also have a situation where you want to transition away from oil, because there is an imperative to transition, whether you like it or not. The world is moving away from oil. There is a green imperative. And so whether you like it or not, you have to move. So how are you handling that? That's also a socioeconomic transition, because it creates a gap between who you are and what the future will be.
I want to keep encouraging you not to give up and not to divorce your struggle for environmental justice from the general struggle for social justice. They are all interconnected. The moment we lose a hang on the struggle for social justice, for political justice, the person or the body that's going to suffer the most is the environment.
As HOMEF looks forward to the coming year, the spirit of solidarity and determination exhibited at the team-building event will undoubtedly guide its efforts to advocate for the transition to a greater planet. As team members' commitment to making the work year one that reflects the socio-ecological transition. The atmosphere at the event was filled with enthusiasm and dedication as members gathered together to reflect on the previous year's achievements and chart a course for the new year. From engaging workshops to outdoor activities aimed at fostering teamwork and understanding HOMEF's core values, the team-building event offered a diverse range of experiences for its participants. Eseli Ojanelu for HOMEF TV.
Health of Moderates Foundation, HOMEF, hosted a book reading event featuring a renowned writer, politician, and journalist, Honorable Abdul Oro. The event, the third in this year's Community and Culture series, emphasized the importance of promoting Africans' culture through reading session and addressing rising political apathy among youths and citizens. Onome Etisuru completes the report.
Health of Mother Earth Foundation hosted an interactive book reading session to examine the relationship between Nigeria's political history and environmental degradation. The event featured former lawmaker, journalist, and activist Honorable Abdul Oro, who shared insights from his non-fiction work, Demonstration of Grace. During this section, Oro reflected on Nigeria's transition from military rule to democracy and how political decisions over the years have influenced environmental management and citizens' behavior. Drawing from his experience as a journalist and public servant, Oro recounted several incidents in communities affected by environmental crisis, highlighting the human cost of political and policy failures. He stressed that governments play a crucial role in addressing environmental challenges and in managing tensions that often rise in resource-affected communities. Also speaking at the event, the executive director of HOMEF, environmental activist Dr. Nemo Bassi, emphasized the role of art and culture in driving social and environmental change.
The struggle continues. There are a lot to be done. The Reverend will tell you that every day when I see something online, I forward it to him. Whether it's about pollution or whatever, because the consciousness is something that should drive you. You see something that is wrong, and then you talk about it. You raise issues about it. You propose an alternative. You propose solutions. Whether in good governance or in the society generally. So these are some of the things we should all strive to do. We must protect our environment so that we protect ourselves.
This book is so important because I believe that the lack of knowledge of our recent history, he was mentioning a lot of names, a lot of places, people. I can relate to all those names, but you cannot, some of you cannot. Because we don't have current history in the public realm. At the time, they were not even teaching history in some of the schools. Because if our youths understand those who have destroyed this nation from the 1960s to date, it will be difficult for some politicians to come up and ask for votes. It will be very difficult. But because people don't know who they are, they just listen to what they say and they give them the vote. So books like this help us to put things in perspective.
Participants agreed to become more actively involved in political processes, noting that meaningful change can only occur when citizens learn from past mistakes and demand greater accountability from leaders.
We as Nigerians, we should participate in politics. There will come a time in life that you don't have a choice but actually be a part of the system in order to be the person that will cause a change in society. If you don't like what you are seeing, you have to be part of it to cause a change.
For me, it was really a kind of a way of going back into history, because the book is actually talking about how to transit, or how they transited from the military rule to democracy. So I began to think, because I'm more of a feminist writer, and I've been reading this book titled Abolition Feminism Now. So it's a book that talked about incarceration. And when Abdul was talking about their times in prison, I now understood that incarceration was real, because it was like there's still classism in incarceration. Nobody should be in prison. Nobody should be confined in a particular place because they are trying to speak up for their rights. And from what he has said, what I can say is democracy will take a long time, because the way it's going, we still have to do a lot of struggles and a lot of fights. So I believe that hope will come after this.
The author, Abdul Oro, in his book Demonstration of Craze, spoke about the fight against the military regime in Nigeria and how he witnessed the devastating wiping out of many communities during this era. He went further to speak about the inspiration for the title of his book, Demonstration of Craze, citing the Afrobeats legend Fela, who coined terms such as demon crazy, and the book title itself, Demonstration of Craze, touting that Nigeria's system of government is nothing more than that. He argued that weak accountability structures have contributed to widespread public apathy, forcing many citizens to focus on survival with little regards for long-term environmental consequences. Onome Etisiro for HOMEF TV.
Communities in Ogulaha and Okutu in Bertun local government area of Delta State are facing a severe environmental crisis following a major oil spill that began affecting their shoreline on January 30th, 2026. The alarming situation prompted a visit to the area by Health of Moderates Foundation in response to the distress call from community leader Tony Temiwe. The spill, reportedly originating from the Ramos Rivers in Bayelsa State, has been carried by tides into the heart of Ogulaha fishing grounds. Within 24 hours of the incident, residents began reporting sighting of dead fish washing ashore. Our correspondent Stanley Igolo reports that fishers who depend entirely on the waters for livelihood are now desperately appealing for intervention. The report.
In response to the ecological disaster, the people of Ukuntu community have put forth clear and urgent demands, which include the call for an urgent investigation into the source of the spill by the National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency and other relevant government agencies, proper cleanup of the impacted shorelines, comprehensive support and compensation for fishers whose livelihoods have been decimated.
But now you boss for the river, we know the sea fish again. All the boat where they fishing, we know the sea fish they kill. And the problem we get with that.
I think the waves coming and going. As they are coming, they will bring the oil. As they are going, the wave is going back, it will take the oil back. So we keep experiencing that. And tomorrow, you will see people coming to argue that there is no oil there, nothing happened there. Because a lot of a wavy area, you can see the waves coming and going. So the oil will not be stable in one place like a creek. So that is what we are experiencing since that day. And since that very Thursday, we're seeing dead fishes everywhere along the sea coast. If we go to our nearby river to put our net, we can no longer catch any fish again.
HOMEF, however, recommends that the community conduct a thorough investigation to assess the true extent of loss and impact from the spill. Fishers should be encouraged to report any findings during the activities at sea and to meticulously document observations with photographic evidence. The state government and other relevant stakeholders are called upon to promptly come to the aid of the people in finding lasting solutions to the impacts of the oil spill. Stanley Egolo for HOMEF TV.
Health of Mother Earth Foundation, HOMEF, in line with its focus for the year 2026, Socio-Ecological Transition, hosted the first session of its conversation for the year themed Ogoni Struggle, Past Wounds and Future Risk. The session examined the contradiction between the ongoing pollution and the idea of resumption of extraction. The conversation reflected on the history of Ogoni struggle, the foundational demands of the Ogoni Bill of Rights, and the risk of returning to oil production without first addressing unresolved environmental damages. Our correspondent Mabel Obaseki completes the report.
The virtual session featured Celestine Akpobari, a long-standing environmental and human rights advocate from Ogoniland, who has been actively involved in the struggle of environmental justice in the Niger Delta. His contributions to community mobilization and grassroots advocacy has positioned him as a consistent voice on issues of oil pollution, accountability and resource justice in Ogoni. During the interactive session, participants discussed the future of the Ogoni struggle and the role of the younger generation. In response to a question about how young people can be mobilized to resist attempts to resume oil exploration, Comrade Akpobare emphasized the need to remove the oxygen that fuels political manipulation within the struggle. He explained that divisions within the community often serve political interest and weaken collective resistance. He also called for courage and accountability, stating that individuals who compromise the collective interest should be openly identified. In his words, it is important to name and shame, as silence enables injustice.
Okay, oil operation is not happening in Ogoni, but it's happening in Bayelsa. Can you name one community in Bayelsa or one community in River State where they are taking oil that they are living well? Can you point at one thing? Any community that can turn on the tap, that have 24-hour electricity, they say, go there, Obricom, they are taking oil, say they have 24-hour electricity, say all their people are abroad schooling, say they are living a better life. It's negatives. Everything is in the red. Everything is negative. So what make you think that they will do it differently in Ogoni? It will be worse. It will be worse. So I think they should forget about oil because the world is already living oil. The world is talking about people that are billionaires today in dollars. They are not into oil business. They are not into it. Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, they are not into oil business. So the earlier we begin to think about something better for all of us than to crying over speed milk.
Important for us to name and shame the people that are perpetuating and supporting this decision and the ones who are advocating for resumption of oil.
You also mentioned that it's important for us to continue sensitization, which I think is one of the things that we are doing here, and also what you do in your own organization, and I'm sure other civil society organizations are doing too. I'm hoping that we can also begin to have community-based organizations who are coming, or even if it's not just an organization, even if it's not in the formal sense of an organization, that we begin to have mobilization within the community who are just waking up to say that this is what they want.
The session concluded with the soft launch of the research report titled Endless Oil Spills, Risk of Resuming Oil Exploration in Ogoniland. The report documents recent oil spills in Ogoni communities and examines the risks and contradictions of resuming oil exploration, why pollution persists and remediation remains incomplete. The research provided evidence of spill, recurrence and gaps in cleanup efforts, grounding the discussion in documented realities. The conversation session revealed that if environmental harm continues and justice remains incomplete, proposal to resume oil exploration in Ogoniland would be unfair and illogical, stating that Ogoniland's oil crisis is often described as a historical tragedy, but it is not mere history, as oil spills continue to occur in communities across Ogoniland. Mabel Obaseki for HOMEF TV.
Thank you, Mabel, for that report. We'll go on a short break, and when we return, you'll hear more on the conversations with Senior Apostolic Comrade.
HOMEF TV, I just want to congratulate you guys. You're doing so very well. We've seen you in the corridors of power here at COP, and now this is COP 30, and we see you speaking to the people, giving power to truth, and we just really want to say thank you for giving us the platform, especially from a country like yours. Nigeria is such a critical aspect or part of the climate movement, the climate transition, and we want to see Nigeria really leading from an African perspective. We've seen incredible strides coming out of the country. I think this year was 30 years of no drilling in Ogoni, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that's an incredible achievement. We need to see more of that, keeping more oil in the ground, because at this point we haven't seen any progress. You know, when we speak about progress and development, a lot of countries want to say oil is the way, but is it really? You know, if it's affecting communities negatively. And people like HOMEF TV, you need to start, you need to continue with the work that you're doing, because you're doing incredible things. Thank you, bye.
Welcome back. In a conversation with Senior Apostolic Comrade Ibegura, who is a true pillar of environmental justice movement and has been around for over 5 decades, has skillfully talked about the connection between the fight for a healthy planet and the struggle for social equity, while championing the idea that the environment isn't a separate issue, but the very foundation of human dignity and well-being.
In actual fact, I'm a part and parcel of the environment. That's the thing. I'm concerned. There's a type of general networking as far as environment is concerned. We try to detach ourselves from the environment and otherwise and look at the environment as something different from our own existence. So when we're dealing with the real environment, we think we're dealing with something else. We traumatize because of human activism. And due to the greediness of the ruling class, we make many mistakes. What concerns me is to know why I am here. And my companions, other creatures that are around me, I recognize them. Recognize myself.
Recognizing other beings.
Yes. Because what we need is justice for all. Not palliatives. Not AIDS. What human beings and other creatures need is justice. And what is justice? Giving each and every one of us to develop according to the law and command of the Creator.
That was a very beautiful conversation with the Senior Apostolic Comrade. For more on this conversation, please visit our YouTube channel to watch more. Coastal and ocean-dependent communities face multiple human rights issues driven by factors such as climate change, economic and other development activities. The water bodies are hotspots for exploration and exploitation, not only of aquatic resources, but also of other natural resources. A policy brief by Health of Moderates Foundation highlighted that in 2024, the Egyptian Canal Authority recorded 13,213 ships passing through the Suez Canal, a 50% decline from 2023, when over 26,000 ships passed through. They attributed this to the geopolitical tension in the region. Our correspondent Onome Etisuru completes the report.
In Nigeria and littoral countries, offshore oil and gas operations, other sea-based mining and nearshore industrial activities are notorious sources of pollution. These destroy aquatic ecosystems and disrupt their balance, degrading the physical environment and livelihoods of coastal communities and foiling conflicts. As expected, assaults on the waters surrounding Africa are multi-directional, as pollution has also been reported in coastal dead zones. The policy brief by HOMEF offers pathways for ocean governance that foster healthy activities, protect communities' rights to a safe environment, and support their food production, livelihoods, and cultures. For ocean governance that centers communities, there must be actions that must make communities key knowledge holders regarding their environment. Beyond the basic knowledge communities hold, there is a need for training in ocean education and the tools available to ensure the enjoyment of human rights. The brief further addresses security concerns arising from the use of the ocean and its coasts as sites for exploration and exploitation. Some of the security issues include piracy, smuggling, attacks on the industrial infrastructure, illegal fishing, and other environmental crimes. Weak policing of the ocean and coastal waters compounds these problems. However, it is recommended that the government enact an Ocean Community Rights Act that consolidates constitutional and customary rights, establishes mandatory community consent for ocean projects, creates an Ocean Communities Development Fund financed by industry levies, and carry out environmental and social impact assessments for all ocean-based projects with mandatory free prior informed consent. Traditional and indigenous knowledge on ocean management must be documented and preserved for intergenerational transfer. The government must establish legal frameworks enforcing strict liability for environmental damage caused by corporate operations, criminalizing these acts of ecocide. Corporations must maintain adequate insurance covering potential disasters and respond immediately to pollution incidents with comprehensive remediation and fair compensation. Onome Etisuru for HOMEF TV.
Many thanks for joining us on the news, and remember to follow us on our social media handles on Echo HOMEF and subscribe to our YouTube channel at Health of Moderates Foundation. Thank you for watching. I'm Kome Odomo.